Imagine that you travel to Ireland to go to a hotel to spread your parents' ashes. But when you ask to see the honeymoon suite, they tell you that it's been locked for years and is haunted by a witch. And when a woman who saved your life goes missing, there's only one place left to look. Would you break into the haunted suite to find her? What is behind that locked door? And how does it link to your own dark and secret past? In this video, you'll find out, because we need to talk about Hokum. It's a new horror film from Damon McCarthy, who made 2024's Oddity, which I really enjoyed. It's being called the scariest movie of the year so far. But aren't they all? In this video, I'll tell you everything that happens in the movie, explain the ending, and answer all the questions you're left with, like who was the donkey man, how much of it really happened, and why is it called Hokum, and what is it really about? There's a lot of symbolism here that points to the real meaning and story behind this movie, and there's a very unique way to know what is real and what isn't. Let me explain. If you're new, here, I'm Madmorph, and this is my movie club where I talk about films and TV shows that I like. And if you're returning, welcome home. No AI is used in the writing of the script or the making of this video. Everything on this channel is human-made, so like and subscribe to join the club, and come back for more human-made content. You can find everything else that I do in the description for this episode, as well as where to listen to this as a podcast. You can listen on Spotify and everywhere you get podcasts. This is Hokum, explained. This movie stars Adam Scott as M. Bowman. M is an interesting name and refers to the unit for electrical resistance. M is an author, and the movie opens with us inside his latest book as he writes it. We watch him drink and tap away at his laptop as a conquistador and a young boy follow a map into the desert. They find a red circle in the sand and say, "We're close." But when the conquistador tries to take the cork out of the bottle to get at the map, it is stuck inside. He tries to smash it against the sand, but the bottle won't break. He realizes the only thing around here that he can break the bottle on is the young boy's skull, and he lifts the bottle above his head. But before M can finish writing what happens next, something falls on the floor behind him. Now, we are back with the author as he looks up and sees the silhouette of a woman standing in the stairwell of his home. He slowly lifts the light to see, but nobody is there. But when he puts the light down, a spooky woman is standing right next to him. When he stands up, scared, she's gone, and he opens an old box of family things, finding postcards and photos from Ireland. This is where his parents went on their honeymoon, and we see the ashes of his parents on the side. He opens a smaller box and finds a small revolver. M travels to Ireland to visit the hotel from the postcards, and pulling up, he meets Fergal, who works there. He's next to a goat that he's killed with a crossbow. Inside, there's an old man terrifying two children with the story of a local witch. This is important, obviously. He says that she would put travelers under her spell, shackling them and taking them on a tour of the underworld. That she would capture little boys, and that hands and claws would reach out and tear chunks and pieces off of them, alluding to the idea that they might just pull off the piece of the man that matters to him most. But before he can finish the story, M interrupts and tells the kids to go find their parents. When M can't find his room, he's helped by Fiona, who works there, and he asks her where the big redwood tree is. It's the one from the photo of his mother, and he goes there and spreads their ashes. While in the woods, he bumps into Jerry, a man living in the woods that likes to drink magic mushrooms mixed into goat's milk. M tells Fiona about the ending of his latest book, but the conquistador tries to smash the bottle on the boy's skull, but it doesn't work. So he wanders off into the desert to die, to which she says, "Why would you write this? It's so bleak. I won't be reading it if that's how it ends." M says a few of his books have been turned into bad movies, but when they make it into a movie, they'll tag on a happy ending for you. He then tells Fiona that you remind me of my mom, telling her the story of how his parents came here for their honeymoon, but died a few years later, that his mother was murdered, shot when she came back from work. Fiona asks if they ever caught the guy, and M says he was too young to be punished, but they should have hanged him, that what happened turned his father into a monster who drank himself to an early grave. He wonders aloud if they stayed in the honeymoon suite, but saw that it was closed. And Fiona tells him it's locked because it's haunted. She says that the owner, which is the old man that was scaring the boys with the story of the witch earlier, locked it after trapping a witch inside, that she would love to get the key and go in and take a look. But she's never been allowed to. Em asks if she wouldn't be scared. And she reveals a book of old folklore, saying if you're ever chased by a witch, you draw a circle with chalk to protect yourself. The bellboy arrives and comes over and tells a story of the witch being real. The one night, he was outside the lift that goes up to the honeymoon suite, and it opened and something blew his hat off. And when he peered into the lift through the shutter using his lighter, he saw the witch's face and ran away. Em says ho. Hokum is the title of the movie, and a word that means a couple of things. It is a way of saying nonsense, rubbish, ridiculous, thought to be the mix of the words bunkham and hocus pocus. But it also describes a device used by a showman to evoke a desired audience response by a showman or in movies like this. So not only is he calling the bellboy's story ridiculous, but also could be the writer poking fun at his own work in that moment. For the previous story in the device that was used a haha made you jump kind of moment. The bellboy is also a reference to the previous movie oddity, as there's a side story about a haunted bell. And this bellboy reveals that he's a writer, too. And he asks Em if he'll read his manuscript for him and give him advice. But Em is very rude to him. All through the opening, we get the impression that Em is potentially not a very good person, and in the least is a very mean drunk. He heats a spoon and a candle, and then burns Alb's hand with it to make him go away. He has had a lot to drink tonight, and drinks all throughout the movie. When he leaves, he left behind his voice recorder. So Fiona goes to his room to return it. There's a do not disturb sign on the door, but she has a bad feeling, and she makes Albie open it, what she finds. And the filters here are very sensitive about talk of this kind. So let's just say they find him hanging around as he tries to end things. We then see him in a lift and hear a witch wailing, and his mother appears next to him inside the lift, and he wakes up in a hospital bed recovering. Fiona basically saved his life. She had this intuition that something was wrong. Got Albie to open the door and saved him. He returns to the hotel for his things, and asking who found him, he asks to see Fiona to apologize, but he's told she's been missing since the night after, which was a Halloween party. Mal, who works at the hotel, says the police want to talk to Jerry, the man that Em spoke to in the woods, and that Jerry's wife disappeared 10 years ago. Em questions whether people have searched the honeymoon suite, since that's where Fiona said she wanted to go. But Mal says it's impossible, it's always locked. But when he gets back into the room, her eyes are closed. Did she have something to do with the button being pushed to save him again? Or is this an acknowledgement of him doing this for her, for capturing the guy that killed her and finally bringing her peace? So Em is free from the haunted honeymoon suite and basement and the witch, but he finds himself in a hotel that is burning to the ground. Out of the frying pan and into the fire, he's overcome by the smoke and passes out on the floor. Fergal returns to the hotel looking to see if anyone's inside, and he hears the voice of Fiona calling his name. He goes towards it, but finds Em and saves his life, dragging him outside, and he wakes up in a hospital bed. Albie the bellboy visits him, and brings him a bottle of drink that he says is from Fergal as a present. Gratitude, no doubt, for finding Fiona and letting her rest in peace. They found the remains of Jerry and Fiona in the burn hotel, but there is no sign of Mal. Albie then confesses something very strange. He says he spiked Em's flask with Jerry's magic mushrooms. It was revenge for being mean to him that night, and for burning his hand with a spoon. This reveals that Em may have been hallucinating this entire time. Or was he? He looks down at his wrists and sees the bruises from the shackles the witch placed on him. We hear Jerry's voice from earlier saying, "It's just people's closed minds that don't let people see these things." So, was any of this real, or was it all a hallucination from the spiked drink? There's a really clever way for you to tell what's real in this movie and what's not, and I'll tell you in just a minute. For now, Em is much nicer to Ollie this time and refuses the bottle of drink, telling him to take it away, which is really important. Ollie gives him the picture of his mother that was recovered from the fire. It's the same one of her looking happy by the redwood tree. Em opens his laptop and starts to write an epilogue to his book, a new ending. We return to the story of the Conquistador from the beginning, and this is really important. The Conquistador is stood over the boy ready to hit him with the bottle just as he was earlier, but he can't do it. He instead hands the boy the bottle and offers his own skull instead, telling the young boy to hit him until he gets into the bottle and to claim what he finds as his own. He gets on his knees, and the boy lifts the bottle to hit him as the sands of the desert shift. But instead of hitting him over the head, the boy throws the bottle away and hugs the man as they both cry. We see that they are hugging in a red circle in the sand together, and outside of it, half buried, is the bottle that he threw in the skull of a ram. And the movie ends. But what does it mean? And what was this film really about? How much was real? And how much was hallucinated? I've got all the answers for you, including the words of the writer and director themselves. But now is a great time to like and subscribe if you haven't already, so you can come back for more like this and to support the channel. So here is the ending explained and your questions answered, including how this story of the Khan Conjustator explains absolutely everything going on in this film. There's quite a few stories in Hawk that are overlapping with each other. There's Mal's affair with Fiona, leading him to lock her up in a haunted honeymoon suite, the witch that's locked in the basement, and M going to the hotel to scatter his parents' ashes and end himself. M is haunted by what he did as a child, how his father treated him since. It's the reason that he drinks. He is still grieving. He's been unable to move on or to forgive himself. He is a haunted person inside a haunted hotel with a real-life witch in the basement. The clue to this is the fact that he experiences a haunting even before coming to the hotel. Remember that opening scene, the silhouette and the woman that appears behind him? It's the ghost of his mother. It's nothing to do with the hotel, and it's not when he's under the effect of the mushrooms. It represents his guilt and his inability to move on from it. He's haunted by it. When he turns the pages of Fiona's folklore book, next to the page about the chalk circle is a page about haunted places, and People Bowman is a haunted person. His own ghost of one of his mothers followed him to the hotel. But what is real and how much of this was actually just a hallucination? How much does a confession of Albee spiking the flash change? There's actually a really clever way to work out what was real in this film. Remember, the goats Fergal says that they are pests and that they shoot them with a crossbow because they jump onto the cars, ruining the paintwork. Jerry says that they climb onto the cars because they eat the mushrooms and they like to look at their own reflection. That looking at your reflection when under the influence is a powerful thing. Now, we know that M was actually drugged, and a lot of his experience is him looking at his own reflection himself inwardly like a goat on top of a car, and all the things that relate to himself are most likely a hallucination, including the Donkey Man. Here's the secret and how to tell. M wears glasses. So just like a goat peering into reflection on top of a car, we are able to see reflections in his glasses. When he looks at the donkey show on TV, we see in M's glasses only TV static, letting us know that M is hallucinating this. These things are manifested by his own grief and guilt inside his own mind. But everything else appears to be real. The witch has a reflection in M's glasses, telling us that that is not a hallucination. Who is the Donkey Man? At the beginning, we see him looking through that box of his family things and see a tape of Jack the Jackass. This is an old show that he used to watch as a kid, and it's a show that's on TV when he caused that accident with his mother. That's why it's been haunting him ever since, and he sees that character whilst hallucinating. Did you know that this film originally was going to have a different ending? In the script, M never makes out of the basement and does not survive. Writer and director Damon McCarthy said, "It just felt too bleak." I was going, is anybody going to rewatch this? Is it going to be entertaining? And I changed it. So, just like Fiona said of M's original ending of his book, that it sounded too bleak. And why would you write that? It's just what he thought of his own original ending, too. And he changed it just like M. Speaking of, what is the meaning of the conquistador and the boy? We see the conquistador drinking deeply from his water skin, and he drops it on the floor, and the boy picks it up and drinks from the same skin. This represents alcoholism, just like what happened to M. His father drank, and now he drinks, and he is a monstrous drunk just like his father. The red circle in the desert is contrasted with the wet circle every time lifts his glass to drink. I believe the conquistador represents M's father, and that the boy is him. The disease is symbolized by the conquistador as the father looking to bludgeon the boy with a bottle representing alcohol and is becoming a drunken monster. Becoming a drunk ruined him as a father in M's childhood and passed the disease on Tom, who drinks throughout the whole film. All of it caused by this accidental death of the mother, which is caused by M and he's never been able to forgive himself for. After the event of the movie, he writes the new ending because he has finally faced what he did. The ending doesn't have to be so bleak anymore. The conquistador doesn't have to walk off into the desert and die. Just like he said to Fiona, when they make a movie, they'll tag on a happy ending for you. He also does this as an act for her, I think. Now, instead, the father is telling the boy to use the bottle on him, but the boy throws it away, them hugging and crying. It's a happier ending that M potentially wishes he could have got for himself. If only his father and him could have hugged, cried, and grieved together. Alternatively, I think maybe the conquistador is adult M and the boy is his inner child, young M. What do you think? Either way, the story represents that M has finally forgiven himself and that he's no longer haunted. As for the skull of the ram, it represents hope, writer and director Damon McCarthy said. At the start, they said if they could find a skull, it would mean hope. The skull lying in the desert shows that what M has been through in a hotel has changed him. Hokum is also a story about guilt, and particularly a story about men's guilt as it relates to women. M's guilt for the accident involving his mother, Jerry's acceptance of killing his wife to spare her from suffering, and Mal's lack of guilt for what he did to Fiona to spare himself. M copes with drink, Jerry copes with mushrooms, and it all comes to a head in this which haunted hotel. I think this theory is also brought home by the story from the owner, who seems to be relating it as that she only takes little boys and seems particularly interested in certain parts of them. I don't think this one's too much of a reach, as it's also present in the previous film Oddity, which I really enjoyed. And let me know if you want to break that one down for you by leaving a comment below. This was Hawk Explained. What did you think of the film? This is a movie club like a book club, but for movies. So share your thoughts in the comments below and any other questions that you're left with that I'm sure someone can answer for you. I've been Mad Morph. This is my movie club. And be sure to subscribe and come back for more. Click one of those videos on the screen right now for another Ending Explained. You can find more of me in the description, including my bedtime podcast where I read books to you to help you sleep, and my gaming channel. Or just go to madmorph.com to find everything that you need. Until next time, remember to forgive yourself. Good night.